Hello and a very warm welcome to this mega preview of IPL 2022. The countdown has begun for the big extravaganza, which gets bigger this year with two new teams. There will be 70 matches in the league stage and the final will be played on the 29th of May. The teams have been divided in two groups, and with last year's champions, CSK in a different group than Mumbai Indians, the most successful team in the IPL. So how do the squads stack up? What are their strengths and weaknesses? And what are the teams that look good to make the playoffs? We discuss this all in this special. We've got a brilliant panel to discuss it with. Let me introduce our lineup here on the show. Let's begin with Hemant Dua, former CEO of Delhi Daredevils, now Delhi Capitals. He joins us here. Deepak Mahan joins us, former domestic player and a cricket analyst. I also have Vedam Jaishankar, senior journalist, Jaideep Ghosh, other senior journalist, and our guy with the numbers, Nikhil Narayan, is here on the show. So let's get straight into it, gentlemen. Before we get into the specifics of each team, let's first talk about that one team you all think will go all the way to the finals. Let me begin with Hemant.
Well, my love stays the same. Thank you for having me over. And I think the team looks really solid. I'm rooting for Delhi Capitals. The team looks really good. On the ratings, if I had to give them out of 5, I would say probably around 4.8.
Okay, along expected lines, showing the loyalty, and why not? Delhi does look like a good side, but what about Royal Challengers Bangalore and the one who's been following them from the first season? Vedam, what do you make of Royal Challengers Bangalore? Are you putting the money on Royal Challengers Bangalore? Okay, we seem to have lost Vedam, but let's get reactions from everybody else. Deepak, of course, for you, Rajasthan Royals, and there's always going to be that soft corner for them, but do you see Rajasthan Royals going possibly all the way to the finals?
Well, actually, my heart really is rooting for them. And to a certain extent, my mind also says that if things, ultimately in cricket, there is a particular day, if they all gel together, I think they've got a very good side. And I think they can put it across this time. And they owe it to the memory of Shane Warne, I think, who led them in the first one to a triumph. So I think they should do it this time. And they have a pretty good side.
They do have a good side, but what about Jaideep Ghosh? Who does he believe that has the team, the balanced squad that can go all the way to the finals? Jaideep?
I think eventually what happens is that all the balance and all the, everything else, all the hype goes for a toss when it comes to push comes to shove. So I still think Mumbai will make it to the finals. Who they are playing is a $1 million question.
You're right, because when it comes to IPL, anything is possible. We've seen that in the past. How many of us would have thought Chennai Super Kings would go on to win the title last year? But they did, after having finished second last in the season before that. But Nikhil, let's begin with Chennai Super Kings and how this team stacks up. During the auction, we talked about maybe they've extended this whole daddy army thing a bit too far, but how much of an impact do you think that will have? And also with Mahendra Singh Dhoni now giving up the captaincy, yes, he is going to be there in the team, he will be guiding the team, but will it make a difference, do you think?
I think so. Two big factors why I think CSK will struggle this year. One, MSD not being captain is a massive factor. MSD was not only a captain on the field, he was a leader off the field. He was a big motivator on and off the field, and of course he will still be there in a leadership role, but MSD not being there in charge at the helm will have a massive impact, adverse impact on CSK. Also, I think yes, last year CSK surprised us all by making it to the final. I think this year CSK are taking it a bit too far. They're stretching the whole daddy army thing. There's Dhoni, there's Raidu, there's Bravo, there's Uthappa. They're way past their prime. I think this will cost CSK. They're rigid about retaining certain players who have crossed their prime, and I think this is going to cost them. This policy is going to cost them. Also, if I see that 11, the first 11 of CSK Meha, they only have two genuine match winners in Ruturaj Gaikwad and Ravindra Jadeja. There is no other match winner in that 11, and therefore I think...
You can't forget Moeen Ali.
Moeen Ali struggled in the UAE leg. He was good in the India leg last year's IPL. So I think CSK will struggle this year to make the playoffs.
Okay, the other big thing with CSK is also, Jaideep, the fact that Deepak Chahar is going to miss a large part of this IPL, and they built their squad, their bowling lineup around Deepak Chahar, and in his absence, I think that's where the problem is going to be, isn't that so? Who is
Yeah,
it
I
going to
think
be?
so. I differ a little in the sense that Dhoni doesn't need to be captain on the field or off the field so long as he's on the field of playing in the 11.
Yeah.
That will take care of the captaincy and the rest of the field placing and all the tips that the new captain needs. That said, yes, I don't know if... I don't think mentally there's a challenge to CSK. Yes, their fast bowling attack will suffer if Deepak Chahar is not fit. I don't know who will replace or how they will do this new adjustment. But it's not going to be a mental thing with CSK. They've been there, done that. They're not going to lose out mentally ever to anybody. Yes, physically it might become a challenge, especially with this new format and so many matches to play. But in terms of tactics, so long as Dhoni is in the fray, in the fold for CSK, whatever his role may be, captain, wicketkeeper, just a player, or even just as a mentor, I think captaincy never going to be an issue, because I can't see Jadeja going and doing his own thing without taking tips from Dhoni and Stephen Fleming outside. So I guess that is not an issue, yes, but longevity will be an issue in terms of physical stress.
Yeah. The other thing being, I don't know how to look at the timing of it all, Deepak. The fact that Mahendra Singh Dhoni decides to pass on the baton to Ravindra Jadeja 2 days before the first game. And I know that he's just, he is Mahendra Singh Dhoni. For Chennai Super Kings team management, he's whatever decision he takes, and this is something we spoke to Kashi Vishwanathan yesterday, the CEO of Chennai Super Kings, and he said, look, the timing of it, I don't want to comment on it, but it has taken me by surprise as an administrator. But then this is also typical Mahendra Singh Dhoni, he just decides and he thinks it's in the best interest of the team, and he announces the decision. I don't know, though, whether this is going to have a negative impact on the side, given the timing of it. What do you think, Deepak?
No, I think whatever they might give us for public consumption, I'm quite sure that Dhoni must have discussed this at the highest levels, and people within the framework of the policy for the team and the planning must be knowing about exactly what he is to do. This probably is more to surprise the opposition rather than themselves. They all knew about it. And I think they must have groomed Ravindra Jadeja for it. And I don't think Dhoni is too smart a fellow to leave something to chance for the last moment. And rightly, as Joydeep also said, I think whatever the grooming and all might be there for Ravindra Jadeja, I'm quite sure the bullets would be fired with the permission of Dhoni.
Okay.
None else.
Okay, couple of things. Number one, my sources within the Chennai Super Kings management says that yes, this is a conversation that he possibly must have had with Ravindra Jadeja, would have kept him in the loop, but the team management was informed yesterday as they announced it. Now, I don't know. Again, we don't know. I can see Hemant smirking on that one, and I understand why, but maybe this is kind of a, I don't know, this is all part of a larger plan. We don't know. But let's move on then to Mumbai Indians. Now, I remember, gentlemen, you were there when we were discussing the auction strategy, and Mumbai Indians stuck out for us because we were wondering what they thought of and whether their auction strategy or waiting till the second day was correct. But they waited and they got the players that they wanted. Having said that now, I don't know why I get this sense, Hemant, that Mumbai's got a good side. It just doesn't have that air of invincibility that it had in the past seasons.
No, you're right. I think Mumbai's built a decent squad. There's no second thoughts. I mean, like, is this a killer winner squad? Possibly not, but they have the experience, and they have the experience of actually not just winning in critical moments, but they also have the experience of Rohit Sharma as a captain. Mumbai is very well known to them. It's like home for them. So all those things will help. I think the first few matches is going to be critical. They might struggle because Surya is not available because of injury. But post that, I think they actually, if you look at the squad right now, starting off, they look pretty better than most of the other people who don't have their players available to them in the 11 because of either for tours or for injuries or for quarantine issues, etc. and all those things. So from that perspective, I think Mumbai looks pretty decent except Surya Kumar Yadav. So from an experience point of view, I think they'll go decent far and in the playoffs, who knows, anything is possible on that day. So I wouldn't rule out Mumbai Indians at all.
Okay. Now, in that playing 11, there were two names that that stand out for me. One of Dual Brevis and the other of Tim David. Yes, Tim David, the latest T20 superstar. Numbers are phenomenal, but completely untested in IPL. Whether that's going to make a difference, we'll have to wait and watch out for. But I also feel that when it comes to their bowling, I know that they got Jofra Archer, but he's not available. In his absence, is that bowling attack good enough for them? That's another issue. But I've got to ask you all as to whether Mumbai will really benefit from from this whole idea of playing the matches in Wankhede and D.Y. Patil and Brabon. I mean, do you think that will make a difference, Jaideep?
See, the thing here is that the kind of itinerary these teams have nowadays, I don't know who stays home for how long. So this whole advantage thing is a little bit of a hype in the sense that I think all the players, including the ones who are playing for Mumbai, most of them have been traveling all around, and home advantage is only when you get home literally to your own place. Grounds and all, I think, and especially with a long tournament, it might give you a couple of things of advantage in maybe the initial stage and maybe a couple of matches. But then again, the teams are already there, all the teams are already practicing in Mumbai, so this advantage thing for professional cricketers is not a big deal at all. And weather-wise or anything-wise, I think anybody who's played cricket in India has played a lot of cricket in Mumbai, or even people from abroad.
Sure.
So it's not going to be such a big deal. Yeah, the crowd support may be a little bit of a thing, but that wears off in maybe.
I agree. Matches. I think crowd support is one big factor, but other than that, it's not that that Mumbai Indians have played at home in the last 2 years, and whether that's going to make a difference, and also that it is a new squad. It's not the same squad. Yes, they have core players who've been part of Mumbai Indians, but not everybody. Okay, let's move on to Delhi Capitals. Now, in the auction, they've done phenomenally well. One standout player was, of course, David Warner, and how he was such a steal for Delhi Capitals. But having said that, Anrik Nokia's injury, Hemant, that is going to be huge. And the problem being that I was looking at the replacement. You've got Mustafizur and you've got Lungi Ngidi, and both of them, try as hard as they may, cannot replace Anrik Nokia.
No, you're absolutely on point on that. But I think DC as a team is a pretty balanced squad. Even with Norke, Warner and Marsh, and even Ngidi probably not available for the first match. I mean, like the other guys probably not for the first few matches. They'll be able to kind of balance out their team. I mean, like from a bowling point of view, I think Lalit, as an all-rounder, they'll have Kuldeep Yadav, they'll have Shardul Thakur, they'll have, so from a balance point of view, they'll kind of, they have Khalil and Nagarkoti also, right? So from an Indian point of view, there's enough decent experience from a bowling point of view. Not the same without Norke. No, Norke is the anchor of the team, and they're going to miss the combination of Norke and Rabada to a large extent because they've formed the backbone or the spine of the team largely. But I think if the pitches are going to be a little on the slower side, the slower bowlers like Shardul Thakur and the spinners like Inakshar, etc., and Kuldeep Yadav might play a big role in taking DC3.
But, if you don't look at just the bowling, the batting, Nikhil, this is a high-impact top order.
Yeah.
It can't get better than that. The only problem being that David Warner is not available straight up, and nor is Mitchell Marsh. But once they come back, I mean, look at that side. David Warner, Prithvi Shaw, Mitchell Marsh, Rishabh Pant, Sarfaraz Khan, great form, domestic cricket. Rovman Powell, we know what he did against India. Then Shardul, Akshar. It's a great batting side.
It's a formidable top four. 5, 6, 7, you can't depend on, but it's a formidable top four. I'm expecting Warner to go big this year, especially with what transpired last year. Warner, along with Chris Gayle and AB de Villiers, is amongst the 3 greatest batsmen in IPL history. Any analysis will tell you. He's one of the greatest match winners with the bat. Probably the greatest batsman in IPL history. better than Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Suresh Raina, everyone considered. He is not. Last year, what happened with SRH was an aberration. His numbers have been phenomenal before that, 600 plus runs season after season. I'm expecting him to go big this year.
He's also man with a mission. I mean, we saw what he did in the T20 World Cup. He knows that when, you know, especially with the way SRH treated David Warner. But let's move on to Punjab Kings then. The best balanced side, Deepak. We spoke about him during the we spoke about them during the auction as well. They did extremely well. KL Rahul was one player that would have been so difficult to replace, but in Shikhar Dhawan they found the experience. They've also found a resurgent Shikhar Dhawan. What we've seen Rishabh Pant do in the last 2 seasons. So in that sense, when you look at Punjab Kings, do you see them as one of the most balanced side in this IPL?
Well, I think something of that sort has been said by Sunil Gavaskar yesterday. I agree to a little bit of what he said, that the fact that they have not won it and the fact that they are a kind of a team which is regrouping itself, they could be giving a few surprises to people. But Sunil's assessment that they just cannot win it is something that I do not agree with.
Besto and Liam Livingstone, no, they really have a side which can explode. And then they also have bowlers like Rabada, Chahar is there, Raj Bawa is an exciting prospect. Arshdeep, we've seen in the past, has always delivered. And remember, the kind of bench strength that these matches are showing, a bowler like Arshdeep doesn't get a call anywhere around in the Indian side, not even in the first 16 to 20 and all. But yet he performs. So that shows that Punjab, for me, has a reasonably good balance. If they were to just work up to their potential, I think they'll really surprise them.
Jaideep, I've got to ask you this. The captaincies, I mean, Mayank Agarwal, captain of Punjab, KL Rahul, Hardik Pandya. This IPL is also about what these captains do. I mean, this is, as we've been saying, the future in a sense. What is the brand of cricket that they'd like to play? How are they going to captain their teams? That would be exciting to watch.
Oh, absolutely, because this is going to be very interesting in several ways. Firstly, you have a situation where let's take Hardik Pandya. See, the operative word here is he an instinctive captain? I honestly do not think so. He is a very good out-and-out batsman when it comes to doing things for somebody else. I mean, some other captain's instructions. But to have the entire process of field testing, this, that, how the team is doing, the performance of the team, coordinating with players, being trying to be fair with everybody, being diplomatic with the media, stuff like that, which is, I don't think he is basically, in the Mumbai word, is a very bindas guy. I'm not sure he's ready for captaincy, but that said, now he's the captain, so he'll have to deal with it. I think for the rest also, extended periods of captaincy is a major trial. 70 odd matches and counting. It's going to be a major test for all the captains. But then the guys who have done it, even Jadeja for that matter. But Jadeja, like we were discussing, has a major advantage in the terms of the backup that he has.
Yeah.
What is very important is what kind of backup these captains have, what kind of coaches, what kind of support staff, who are the people, who are the advisors. If they are not strong enough, then they're going to struggle. Because one-off, it's not going to be for them. It's not going to be possible for them to take all the decisions on and off the field. They'll need a lot of time.
Okay, let's talk about Rajasthan Royals and RCB. Then, starting with Rajasthan Royals, to me, I feel they are the dark horses of this tournament. I feel with that kind of bowling, especially as the pitches slow down, Deepak, I mean, I can expect Ashwin and Yuzi Chahal to just spin a web around other teams. That's my prediction. RR, one team, I feel like everybody should watch out for. Do you agree, Deepak?
Yeah, I do. But you see, the fact that the games are to be played only at 4 places, and that too in the thick of summer with temperatures ranging between 30, 35 to 45 and on. I personally feel that the number of matches being played on these 4 grounds will actually deteriorate the condition of the pitches largely. and most of the slow bowlers and all should be able to reap some kind of a harvest. Now, how much they do so and who does it, but because of the fact that Ashwin is a very, very tricky character, is very cerebral, tries to think people out, I think he is one of those, just like Sunil Narayan, I expect will do very well. Because these are the kind of bowlers who really trick you and create a web around you. And also their mind games are always better than others. And this is where I think even Yajwendra Chahal will learn a lot more this time.
I also feel like for a lot of people, they would think that, oh, the whole idea of home and away, the advantage, all of that has gone out of the window. But this also makes it an even playing field in a sense for the teams. And like you said, all slower bowlers are likely to do well as the tournament goes on. But for Royal Challengers Bangalore, now we'll move on. Du Plessis, one thing unfortunately, Vedam couldn't be here with us. We tried to get him, but there was some network issue. But one of the things Vedam was talking about when they revealed their captain, Faf du Plessis, was that he was surprised, given that RCB is about brand, Hemant. It's really not so much about the cricket that they play, but the brand of cricket and the personalities that they support, the personalities that are in the team. And in that sense, do you feel like with Faf du Plessis becoming the captain, they've sort of shifted away from that?
Not really. I think there was a choice between who were the other persons, right? I mean, like the other person possibly was Glenn Maxwell, right? That was the other option, right? So, but Glenn Maxwell, predictable, unpredictable. Will he be there for the first two games? He's not available, right? So that's also a big thing. I think Faf brings in a lot of stability and he commands respect. And he commands respect with the performances that he's done. And that will work actually in favor of RCB. Even a Virat Kohli would be very comfortable with Faf being a captain, than Maxwell being a captain. I think that will work really beautifully for RCB and they could actually flourish under Faf. And that's my feeling and they will do really well. So if their batting clicks at the top level, I think they'll be a pretty potent team at large. And they have a good bowling. I mean, like on the slow pitches, as everyone's been talking about, pitches are going to slow around. I mean, like Harsanga, Harshal Patel. I think, and Mohammad Siraj has, I mean, especially Harshal with his slower bowlers, slow balls. I think it's be a great, RCB will spring up some good surprises.
Okay, then let's talk about Kolkata Knight Riders. Then Shreyas Iyer, the playmaker in the middle order, and aren't all of us excited about Shreyas Iyer, the kind of form that he's in and now becoming the captain of the side. So much to look forward to when it comes to Kolkata Knight Riders. But I don't know, there are some weak points there. There are gaps that need to be filled, and I don't know where they're going to fill those from.
Yeah, too much dependence on the Iyers, Venkatesh and Shreyas. I mean, I don't see, I see they have a very weak batting unit apart from the two Iyers. Also, too much faith in two fading stars, Sunil Narine and Andre Russell. Their trump card is their mystery spinners, or so-called mystery spinners, Chakravarti, Narine, and this left armour, Ramesh Kumar, who can turn the ball both ways. So if the wickets deteriorate in Mumbai towards the latter half, then KKR come into play. But for me, this year, KKR is not one of the stronger sides.
I also think one of the things is that it's not just Andre Russell and his fitness. I also think that Varun Chakravarti, they've retained him. They've shown their faith in Varun Chakravarti, Deepak. But, you know, the dip in form for Varun Chakravarti, that is a reality. Will people figure him out in this season? Yes, he was very good last season, and he is somebody with a fragile body. He does tend to get injured, and in that sense, you wonder whether that was a good bet. But also, the wicketkeeper problem there with Kolkata Knight Riders, Sheldon Jackson seems to be one, and if they go in for Sam Billings, then they already have 4 foreigners. So, you know, the balance again gets upset.
I completely agree. I think Kolkata, for me, is one team which somehow or the other is missing the whole radar. And even coming to what Joydeep said, a lot of these youngsters who are coming up as captains and all, how much that pressure will play on them is something to be seen. And in this case, Shreyas Iyer, despite the fact that he's a good batsman, how much will he be able to pull up? You see, the captain does not perform right only on the field itself, but he has a lot of other worries which are kind of taken up by the support staff interaction. And many a time, a captain is found wanting in the sense that he drains out. Now, this is where I think Shreyas Iyer, Venkatesh Iyer, and then their batting and all, somehow or the other, doesn't, with even Finch, I'm told, is initially not available till 7th.
Yeah.
So all that combined together, they do not seem to be a team which is in the right groove. And they do not have the right kind of a balance for me. And as very rightly put up by our statistician, sir, that Sunil Narayan and Russell both are almost over the hill. Though I still personally really like Sunil Narayan bowling. I really loves watching him. And I still remember one of those balls which got somebody, Rohit Sharma. It was a beautiful ball. I still remember that all the time.
Yeah.
So he's somebody I really look forward to. But overall, Kolkata somehow or the other, I think their fortunes are kind of dipped.
You know, Jaideep might disagree with us on this one because he would think KKR would go all the way. Jaideep, there was a smirk and then you tried to control it, but I saw you there. Kolkata Knight Riders, Sunil Narayan, if anyone was watching Sunil Narayan, the Bangladesh Premier League, I know you always say the competition there is very different from IPL, but come on, Sunil Narayan was incredible. Jaideep, Kolkata Knight Riders, do you see them going all the way?
Absolutely not. See, I'll tell you, I'm in agreement with the gentleman regarding this. Kolkata has lost the plot even before we started. I mean, apart from the batting and this over dependence on, I mean, this has been discussed to death that why we have Narayan and why we have the other guy, what's his name? I forgot. So now the point here is that Andhra, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Now the thing here is that apart from that, the point here is that as was mentioned, that one captaincy will be in a major pressure long term, and where are the runs coming from? I mean, you have to defend, and we're talking about wicket keepers. We have mystery spinners, 3 or 4 mystery spinners in the team. Even the wicket keeper will be mystified as to where he's going to keep. So now the thing is that you cannot have a ragtag team and expect to go right till the top. You will have to be very lucky. And a tournament of this length on pitches that are gradually going to get just worse, you're not going to get that luck for too long. You might get lucky once or twice. In 70 odd matches, you're not going to get lucky every time you play. And then you need to defend runs. I mean, you don't have batsmen. Where are you going to get the runs? You won't expect Shreyas Iyer to captain, get the runs, do a great job as a fielding captain, and have these couple of mystery bowlers to create history for Kolkata. That's not going to happen. So I'm pretty sure that KKR is not going to be a top contender. I'll be very surprised if they get to the knockouts.
Well, that was very earnest, though I did see some emotion there. But yes, earnest assessment of Kolkata Knight Riders. Okay, let's talk about Sunrisers Hyderabad, who I believe the weakest team in this competition. But hey, we've seen some crazy things happen in the IPL. But Sunrisers Hyderabad, Hemant, what were they thinking? We talked about this even during the auction. They've gone back to some of the players who've not worked out for them in the past. And when you look at this side, I mean, that Kane Williamson seems to be the guy who's going to hold it all together. But he's one elbow injury away from getting out of the tournament, if anything. Sunrisers Hyderabad, completely muddled thinking there.
Absolutely, and I think they're walking on a really thin ledge. You don't know when they're going to fall, and especially if Williamson gets injured, who's going to be the captain? I mean, I can't really. I mean, is Nicholas Puran going to be the captain? I mean, I don't know, because he's probably the only other captain out there, or Bhuvnesh Kumar. I mean, I don't see any other captain out there who can lead in absence of Kane Williamson. Again, the batting is out there. I mean, Markham, Tripathi, Puran. Sure, they're not consistent players. I mean, they're flash in the pans like most of these guys. Puran can say that he's had one bad season, but he's not shown consistency, and that for me is a worry. And so is, Tripathi can have a good game and cannot have a good game. Beyond that, bottom line, otherwise, all-rounders, youngsters, bowling lacks the kind of punch that it should have. And more than the punch, the experience. The bowling lacks experience. So overall, I would say 50-50. I mean, like, not really up there. Probably the weakest.
And how bad was your auction that Simon Katich had to leave, saying, what have you done in this auction? This is not the team that I wanted. So they've sort of started this season on a bad note.
Yeah, I mean, first you don't retain your greatest match winners in Warner and Rashid Khan. Then you have a terrible auction. And remember, SRH's strength was their bowling. They were the most consistent team in the IPL from 16, 17, 18, 19, making the playoffs continuously because they had a very potent bowling unit. Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Rashid Khan. Bhuvneshwar's form has gone down drastically in the last couple of seasons. Just 6 wickets in 11 matches, economy of 8 last season. And that is a big factor for them. SRH is going to struggle. I think they're going to finish last this season.
Okay. Yeah, I think a lot of people would think that.
Wow, Nikhil, that's a big one, Nikhil.
Wait till we get to the predictions part of it, where Nikhil's come up with his predictions, and I'm going to pull his leg on that one as well. But we have 2 more teams to go, gentlemen. Lucknow Supergiants and the brain of Gautam Gambhir behind them, Jaideep. We knew straight up in the auction what they did. They have the best all-rounders in their side, and not just one or two, many of them. So in that sense, they really got everything right in the auction. Now it's about, just how the team gels and how they perform on the field.
Yes, absolutely. See, like we were discussing earlier, names on paper are always very good to read. Ultimately, it boils down to how they deliver during the matches. Yes, Gautam Gambhir's presence is going to be a tremendous plus for Lucknow. But that said, this is a first for them. And although most of the players have been in and around in the IPL for a while, combinations are things that you discover by trial and error. And I would be happy, and very honestly, if Lucknow does well, because they have they pretty much have everything that they require. Whether that comes and translates into performance consistently. Consistency is the biggest thing, and especially the longer the tournament, the more consistent you need to be. So having the right combination of captain, coach, and the batting bowling as it is, they have the wherewithal to do it all. And but thereafter, then again, the thing about experience will come in terms of the combination. So if they can get their act together very quickly, and the plus of a long tournament is that you can make your mistakes and still recover. But that's it. That is where I think the combination and consistency are going to be key for them. But they absolutely have the players to do it.
I think if I had to nitpick, one of the things is the lack of solid backups for them. You have Evan Lewis, there's Kyle Mayers and Manan Vora, but again, you're top heavy. That probably is the only problem there for Lucknow Supergiants, because if you look at the playing 11 and if they do end up performing the way they're expected to their potential, this is a very good side.
Absolutely. For me, what stands out is the X factor is the number of all-rounders, and what will determine them making the playoffs or not, Meha, is which version of KL Rahul comes out to bat. They need KL Rahul, the aggressor. He cannot play at a strike rate of
not the one who doesn't care about strike rates.
He cannot play at 125, 130. They will not qualify. He needs to be KL Rahul, the aggressor. He has the game. He cannot play the anchor.
I think he can also do that with Quinton de Kock there holding on one end, and if they lose an early wicket, there is also Manish Pandey, so he has that cushion to do it. But it's also a side, I feel, that can go for the power game. And this is a side that has some big hitters. Marcus Stoinis being one of them.
Deepak
Huda being another one.
Gautam hits a long ball.
That's right. So I think this team can actually go ahead and say, we're going to go all out from the word go. Okay, then let's talk about the last team, Gujarat Titans. Again, don't know what they were doing in the auction, but for the longest time they didn't have a wicketkeeper. Then they were wondering how to get a wicketkeeper, and then quickly went and bought 2 wicketkeepers. But having said that, this is not a team that would give too much confidence to their fans, isn't that so, Jaideep? I mean, you look at this side and you wonder, okay, good team, fine. If they all play well, they might win some games. But can they make it to the playoffs? Do they have that kind of a team?
Well, I think the auction and the way the management of a team behaves in an auction is pretty much a reflection of how they're going to do on the field. They were a little hesitant and a little, clueless about what they want in terms of the players. Like you're saying about the wicketkeeper thing, that was, I think, a comedy of errors of tremendous proportions. And then again, I was saying I'm not very sure that Hardik Pandya is a natural captain as yet. He might be later in life. But that said, these two in combination, who's the coaching staff? I'm a little uncertain on who the coaching staff is. So between these two things, I think we have a little bit of a situation which might or might not work out very well for them. But yeah, I don't really see them, going the whole hog anyway.
Is there anyone on this panel who disagrees when it comes to Gujarat Titans, or are we all on the same page?
Well, I think Jaideep was asking about who's their coaching staff. Their coaching staff, Jaideep, is Gary Kirsten, Ashish Nehra, Ashish Kapoor, and I think Mithun Manas. So those are the guys they have. Yeah, those are the guys they have.
So that pretty much
are they good? I think. Are they great? I mean, like, they've worked with each other at Delhi Daredevils. All of them have worked with each other, so I know all of them personally. I'm not going to comment on how they're going to coach and what they're going to do, but I think that says it all. But overall, I think team is. I think it lacks experience. That's my whole thing. The team lacks experience, and as Joydeep was saying, I think they have good young talent out there, except Rashid Khan and Mohammad Shami. Yeah. I don't see there much experience in the team. I mean, like, yes, Wade is there, but Wade is not a player who's had great success in India, to be very honest. So, not really. I mean, like, from that point of view, it looks, but, cricket's a strange game. Anything can happen.
Yeah, that's why we love.
But yeah, I think another thing I need to tell you is this is going to be actually a season where the future captain of India is going to be anointed, literally. There are 7 young captains who are out there and will be fighting it out, not in the immediate need, but in the future, as I'm saying. I mean, like, in a few years from now. So they'll be watched, and so they'll be trying to put their best foot forward, but at the same time, that brings in extra pressure and all of that. Absolutely.
Okay, time then for our predictions, gentlemen. So put your thinking hats on. 4 teams that you think will qualify. First, I'll tell you about News 9's big prediction for IPL 2022. Nikhil Narayan has done the number crunching. I disagree with him on one, but then, hey, I don't do the numbers. So the big thing is that Nikhil says Chennai Super Kings and Kolkata Knight Riders will not qualify for the playoffs. And like I said, I didn't need to do numbers to see this. But Nikhil, what took you to, I mean, what was it that you did with this to come to this? Were there different variables? What was taken into account?
For CSK not qualifying, the fact that, a lot of their players are out of form, a lot of the players are, above, they've passed their prime. Also, they are playing a number of the matches in Bombay, in Mumbai, and the average score there is 170. It will initially help the fast bowlers. CSK have won a lot of the matches in Chennai on ranked turners, and they will, with that batting, they will struggle to chase above 170. It's going to be a big factor initially for CSK. For KKR, I don't need to tell you any number crunching. We all know the team is not good enough. They don't have the batting. Punjab Kings, the best balanced team, therefore. Delhi Capitals, again, a potent bowling unit with Nokia and also a formidable top 4. Mumbai Indians, I think, have the best firepower in the top 6.
And the experience of winning.
For me, home advantage is, I'm saying home advantage will play a big factor for Mumbai Indians. They have won a lot, 52 of the 82 matches in Mumbai, and the crowd support.
Lucknow Supergiants, we know the balance.
The balance of the squad, the all-rounders. Rajasthan Royals, the best bowling unit in the tournament. The combination of Bolt and Prasad Krishna with the new ball, middle overs, Akshar Patel and R. Ashwin.
Akshar Patel
Zunil Chahal and R. Ashwin. Yeah.
Okay. Gentlemen, anybody disagrees with this prediction? So the 4 teams that are likely to make the playoffs: Punjab Kings, Delhi Capitals. There you go, Hemant. Mumbai Indians, Lucknow Supergiants, and Rajasthan Royals as the dark horses.
I kind of think it's going to be DC, MI, RCB are the 3 teams that are going to be there. And the 4th team for me is going to be a toss-up between LSG or RR.
Okay. Deepak?
Well, I think I largely agree with what Nikhil has said, but I still feel that instead of Mumbai Indians, I think this time Royal Challengers might be the team to give us a surprise, especially because of the fact Kohli had been playing well, but yet he had all those responsibilities. Now I think he's trying to prove himself, and he has this World Cup in vision, and he is trying to regain form. I think he'll be really backing up Faf du Plessis, and I think they've got a very good team to really knock out a few people if they really play to their potential.
Okay, Jaideep?
I think Mumbai, of course. Mumbai, Delhi Capitals. I agree about RCB. That RCB will do very well indeed. And I think Chennai Super Kings will make the Super Fours.
You said Chennai Super Kings? I can't hear you clearly throughout the show. Chennai Super Kings?
Chennai Super Kings number 4.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, wow. Okay,
tournament.
time for me. We're completely running out of time, but hey, because I'm the anchor, I get to have the last say today. For me, the teams that will go through to the playoffs: Punjab Kings, Delhi Capitals, Lucknow Supergiants, and Rajasthan Royals. Maybe we're all wrong, who knows, but that's the fun of it. We can sit and discuss all of this and talk about who we think will win. Thank you so much, gentlemen. It's always so much fun talking to you, Hemant Dua, Jaideep Ghosh, Deepak Mahan, Nikhil Narayan. I'm going to make sure I, sort of talk to him at the end of this IPL. Let's see whether our predictions do come right. But thank you. And thanks for coming on the show. So that's it. IPL begins tomorrow with the first match between Chennai Super Kings and Kolkata Knight Riders. That's the big match at the Wankhede Stadium. We'll get you all the latest from this edition of the IPL right here on News 9 Digital, on our social media, as well as you can get the latest on our website, News 9 Live as well. For now, goodbye. Thanks for watching.